in the two crucial mistakes that the majority of this room is gonna do, which won't allow them to double their business in the next 3 years, which should be on the table for most of you. Actually, this is a better question. How many people by show of hands would be open to doubling their business in the next 3 years? Let me just look. Who doesn't want to? Raise your hand, because that's real. Okay, good. All right, so it seems like most of you want to. There's literally only two things that are stopping you. One, your ideology, which is actually, believe it or not, stick with me here, it's wrapped up in your ego. You enjoy the thought that you do it better than anyone else, which is why you're actually not delegating. You literally don't even see it. It's in your subconscious that there's this insecurity, because by the way, that's what ego is. Ego is just insecurity with some makeup on. Your insecurity that somebody might actually do what you love doing and you feel that you're good at better than you do it. Or your pride in your craft, which is absolutely blended with your deep love of your clients and wanting to deliver for them. These are things that are intermixed. You can absolutely want to deliver an incredible product, build a great reputation. Most of you built something on the fact of doing it yourself. It went well, they recommended. I don't know if you guys can see this. I get the goosebumps on this one because I come from this. I watched what my father was doing every day and I understood, but I understood how much that didn't allow us to grow. If you were stocking the shelves and ringing up the person at the register and buying the stuff, you weren't growing. Too many of you, if not all of you, how many people here own their business? Raise your hands. Everybody who just raised their hand right now is doing two things. One, doing too much dumb shit that they should hire for, and two, their meetings are twice as long as they're supposed to be. Everybody here has hour meetings that are actually 30-minute meetings, 2-hour meetings that are actually an hour. And so if literally, I come to this and I'm like, this is business. We could be talking about a lot of things, but we're talking about business today. It is incredibly obvious to me in service production, event businesses that this is the poison. The other poison is you want as much profit as possible to buy shit and not reinvest it in your business. Most of you are crying about too much business, and the answer is to hire people, but you don't want to hire people because you want the profit to buy a watch. So, I kind of weirdly feel like I should leave now because it scares me and excites me at the same time how much just those two things. If I could literally just get, one more time, how many people own their business? And how many people feel like they're in a spot right now where they have too much business, even that they can't take everything? Just raise your hands. Too much business? Oh, this is good. One more time, because I made some assumptions and now I'm getting excited because it gets me to talk about something else. How many people here feel like they have too much right now and so they can't take on more? Raise your hands high. Don't be, why are you embarrassed? This is the best. Great, so that small group, literally the only thing you need to do is actually leave, do not listen to the rest of my keynote and go hire someone. So I challenge you to marinate with that, find your version of what I'm saying, but I promise you, you will be flabbergasted. Because remember, I understand what people worry about. You might overhire ahead of it, business slows down. You can fire people. It's not fun, you don't want to. It's not like we're hiring with the intent to fire. We're not trying to hurt anybody. But the hesitation to hire is fascinating. And by the way, let me give you a really good insight. I am standing on this stage predominantly because of emotional intelligence and the luck of the draw of good intuition and things that were given to me the night my parents decided to have sex. But even with all of that, the amount of times I've hired poorly is staggering. It's just real. And I just want to remind people, hiring is guessing, firing is knowing. And the one in between is probably gonna be the most important. Hire fast. A lot of you are trying to be perfect with the hire because you're scared, and I get it. You make a mistake, she or he makes a mistake, the project gets, I get it. I hope everyone understands, I'm coming here, I'm not an author, I'm not a motivational speaker. I run a 2,000 person global agency that I started 14 years ago that does $350 million in revenue. And I started it 14 years ago coming from the wine business on Madison Avenue. I'm an operator. These first 15 minutes have not been about marketing. It's not been about like psychology. I'm talking to you about operating a business. I'm telling you right now, please do not let this era that clearly has a lot of demand in it. I'm looking at macro trends. There is an extraordinary amount of demand for events, and it will continue. And please don't, you gotta go? Please don't go and miss this moment, because a lot of you, how many people have been doing this for more than 15 years? Raise your hands. Perfect. You all know, it's waves. And if you don't catch the waves when they're right, you're leaving a lot of upside. You are all in the beginning. We've been in now for 6 to 12 months, but we're here. These next 3 to 5 years are very fruitful. You can expand. Seems like a lot of you wanted to. You don't have enough employees. I'm telling you, you don't. And here's a big one. This is very important and will really help a lot of you. How many people here feel that if they decided to go to sleep for 3 months, that they have a number 2 and shit will be okay? Raise your hands. Let's clap it up for these 11 people. And who does not feel that way? Raise your hands. My friends, let me tell you something that I'm very passionate about. If I can get all of you to leave here and remember this part of the talk and make a commitment to start building up a real number 2 that comes in all shapes and sizes. Giving minority equity is somebody that's been with you for a long time so they feel like an owner. You don't have to give them 50%, sometimes it's 5 or 10%. Recruiting somebody, one of the worst, there's a lot of bad sayings in life. The worst one is nice guys finish last. It's taught people in the world that you can't be a good person while building a big business. But another really bad one, right, is I forgot, but I'll get back to it in a second. I'm so passionate about the nice guys finish last that it bothers me. 10%, I'm gonna go with it. I'll get back to it in a minute, but what I really, oh, I got it. They tell you not to work with friends and family. I stand here today as someone who lives it, but more importantly, has invested in over 1,000 businesses in his life, analyzed business the way people analyze movies and sports. It's my hobby. I couldn't be more bullish hiring friends and family. It's hard. You as the person that's doing the hiring have to make a commitment to the relationship more than the money in your pocket, which I know does not come natural to most. But for all the people that just raised their hand and don't have a number 2, you are uncomfortably vulnerable. And so I beg you to walk out of here and start the strategy of how you're gonna do that. Do you have a friend or best friend or family member who might not love what they do, and should you have a talk with them and maybe joining? Do you have someone that's been with you for a while, and do you take the next step? Maybe before you give the equity, maybe you don't have to give the equity, but you need to change your dynamic with that. A lot of you take your number 2 for granted. Business owners are very good at thinking that the number 2 is just gonna work for them forever just because they pay them. So please leave here a lot with number 2. I stand here before you with the largest advertising independent agency in the world because I gave away all my secrets for free on the internet for the last 15 years. I give away my best information. The reason I have followers and people like me is I'm only trying to give it to you for free, at scale, daily, period. I think a lot of you could be doing the same thing for your businesses. I actually think one of the biggest mistakes in this industry overall is how many of you in this room think you're competing with other people in this room. I think people are incredibly built into scarce mindset. A lot of you leave money on the table by not referring someone as a referral fee because you're scared to refer that person thinking who you refer to will keep that relationship forever. So you would rather take money out of your pocket and not even engage in that and bring value because of your fear of it going away. There's a lot of interesting cliche things going on in this industry, bless you, that if, by the way, and you know this, there's a really fun Russian superstition that if somebody sneezes after you say something, it means it's true. So I'm just gonna remind you, there's a lot of crazy shit going on in this industry that makes no fucking sense.
Money is blank. What would the answer be, and then why would it be that?
Money is an exposer.
An exposer.
My friends, money exposes. If you're a piece of shit when you're poor, you're really a piece of shit when you're rich. I love when people are like, Gary, money changed him. I'm like, no, it didn't. Yeah. I promise you, money is an exposer. Money exposes people.
Yep.
Real talk.
Yeah.
It fucking exposes people. It just accelerates your truth.
Yeah.
It just does. You're good people, you get paper, you're real good people, promise. Watch it, pay attention. It's never, ever been any other way. Money is an exposer. Perspective is what we think money does. When you decide to not look here and you look here and you see completely different shit, you can possibly act different.
Yeah.
That is what people think money does for them. Putting in the work, having the humility. It took me time to get to understanding candor was a flaw. I used to blame them. I was doing this, right? I'm really good at this for almost everything. But when I wasn't strong enough to fire you, because I liked you, because I mean, back to what I said earlier, you come into my company, we're fucking family. Like I think in sports terms, you're like on my team now, right? Like we're gonna kill everybody, and I start getting feelings. I love my fucking teams. And so when someone sucked, instead of having the ability to say, hey, you're not good at this, and have the ability to build them up, I would just, because I didn't want it, and it would get worse and worse and worse. And then after 3 years of them sucking, and I would sloppily fire them it was bad. In my 20s, it was out of control. At 28, I could walk by somebody at the liquor store and be like, Johnny, you're the fucking best, see you on Monday. On a Saturday night, and then Monday be like, yo, can you come to my office real quick? Yo, by the way, you're fired. And Johnny's like, motherfucker, you said I was the best on Saturday. And I was like, fuck, I'm sorry. I'm like, here's more money, just get the fuck out of the company. It was sloppy. It was sloppy.
Yeah.
And you know what I did? I blamed them. I'm like, Johnny, fuck you, Johnny. How didn't you fucking sucked. You knew you sucked. What the fuck, And I wasn't there. And I think we do that on a lot of things. Yeah. And so I think we need to be way more accountable. The second you realize the world is how you see it, even in times like this, if you want to look outside right now, you can find unlimited positivity. And the second you realize that anything that is bothering you is on you. It's on you. Every single person here is more than capable of fixing it. Maybe not this minute, but if you believe otherwise, you've already lost. If you're not pumped with what you do you understand how much time we spend on working? Add sleeping and then figure out how much work is your life. It's the majority of your life. If you don't like it, you're making a mistake. And I understand, fuck you, Gary, that's dream shit. I got a mortgage, I get it. But I don't understand why people don't fight for their happiness. Yeah. And let me go into detail. Let me go into detail. In my way of seeing the world, if you can't quit your thing to go try to do another thing, you start looking at everything that costs you money. If you're actually miserable, real talk, if you don't wake up on Monday and you're like, yeah, right? People that live for Friday evening, that's not life. If you're one of those people, the first thing you look at is, do you own a home? If you own a home and you're not happy, really not happy, but you can't afford to jump, I think it's a debate to say, let me sell this home, let me take out the equity, give me a year, I'll have the humility, right? I'll go back to an apartment, I'll go to a smaller home, I'll rent a smaller home, but we don't do it because we're worried about judgment. Most of you will not do the thing you should do to get to happiness because you don't want to be embarrassed. And that fucks me up. It's like sports. Most of you are living your life. Can you imagine if every athlete reacted to every time they were booed? When you're an athlete, you don't even hear the fucking crowd. When people try to tell me or judge me on what I'm doing, I'm like, motherfucker, you're in the crowd eating popcorn, I'm fucking playing. So if you need to fucking sell your home because you bought a home that was too big for your skis, and you, the realtors are motherfuckers, aren't they? And you have a home that has, I don't know, 4 rooms that you never fucking use, and it's fucking you up because that mortgage is fucking you up, and your lease is a fucking Tesla, and you go on 3 vacations for the fucking photos on the gram to show people you're winning on the outside, and you're actually losing on the inside. Swallow some fucking humility and fight for your happiness. I think so many people are keyboard activists, right? Everybody's good at sending a tweet about how the world should be, and nobody's doing anything about it, and that is just very much human nature.
I was just gonna ask if you think that's human nature, or if you think that we've gotten soft as a culture?
Yes. You know, I mean, of course we've gotten soft as a culture in the US because the US has had an incredible 200-year run, right? Like, this is just what happens. You know, so as a culture, you know, I can't speak for, you know, people that live in the Amazon River, and I can't speak for, you know, people that still live in Belarus, but the American culture is soft, and that's a great thing. That means there's been enormous amounts of prosperity, but let's not be naive. I mean, people literally complain when somebody gives them the wrong amount of like extra cream in a Starbucks $6 coffee. Like this, like we've gotten to a place where we complain, you know, out of all those lovely things you said, as I stood there getting ready to come, the part that, and I'm glad you pick up on this, and not a lot of people have said it before, so thank you. My lack of interest in complaining is so high. And when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. And I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. Even in political unrest times like right now, a lot of people are very bent out of shape, but the reality is that it's just never been better to be a human being. That's just the truth, that's just data, that's reality. And yeah, I mean, it's just a very fun time to be alive. So much going on. The internet is starting to hit maturity. Look what we're doing right now. This right now, right, would have cost millions of dollars in production and distribution to have the amount of people who watch this just 15 years ago. like, you know, I just think it's very interesting times. And I was saying something to a friend the other day. I was like, could you imagine if you told a parent 15 years ago, hey parent, what you're gonna wanna do in 15 years, instead of buying a kid, your 16-year-old, a car, you're gonna convince your 16-year-old daughter to go into a stranger's car every single day. You're gonna pay for your 16-year-old daughter to go into a stranger's car every single day, and you will think that's normal and actually safer than buying that kid a car. That's literally what we're living in now. High net worth individuals in America are preferring to give their kids unlimited Uber to buying a car because they don't want them drinking and driving, they don't trust their driving, and literally they think it's safer for their 16, 17-year-old to go into a stranger's car than to drive themselves. That's sacrilege 15 years ago. Online dating 20 years ago. The weirdest, nerdiest, you're thinking 300-pound white dude in the basement of a kid's car, now it's just completely standard. I mean, if you add in sliding into people's DM on Instagram, it's like 89% of relationships, right? So, you know, I think that we are, I think we're going through a huge transition because all of us, even thought leaders, are grossly underestimating the internet itself, and we're hitting scale, right? We now all are on at all times, and this is now the beginning. I was joking while I was working out this morning to D-Rock. I'm like, D-Rock, you're gonna get replaced by like a Pokemon ball. Like, I'm gonna throw it up. Like, people in 20 years are literally gonna throw something up and just gonna hover 360 and film everything they're doing. I mean, like, it's just an incredible time. And I think the way people look at the world right now, because it's such an incredible time, is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks or it's bad, you have losing, pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic, winning DNA. And I believe that to be true. And so my question is, you can sit here and continue to blame the president,
right,
your mom, or you can decide, I'm a grown-ass man, I'm a grown-ass girl, and instead of doing all these proxies to make makeup on my problem, let me go do work.
Yeah.
Let me do work. Because it's super easy to blame. It's easy. Yeah. You just do it. but people are not putting in the work. And what, again, so to me, money, it's that people swear that that's just shit that's gonna fix it. Whoa. If you got fucked up shit, that shit is not fixing it. It's gonna make you spend that shit on more fucked up shit and you're going down fucking town.
I love it. I love
Charlie Brown, motherfucker. Like, you know? The number one thing the world lost was accountability. We've gotten so good at telling everybody else in the world what they should be doing. We love pointing fingers, right? How about thumbs? Where the fuck have thumbs gone? Let me give you the biggest indication that you're a fucking loser entrepreneur. I'm gonna give it to you right now. You blame the current president for your shit. I love that. I'm an entrepreneur. And then you're blaming the president? You fucking suck. As if. I've made plenty of money as an entrepreneur with Republicans and plenty with Democrats. Give me an independent and I'll crush. I don't give a fuck. People make me laugh. People talk real shit. But then we just aren't accountable. Here's another one. How many people have more than 10 employees? Raise your hands. Good. Let me tell you the funniest thing about running a company. 100% of the shit that's wrong is your fault. It's crazy. I sit with my homies, I read all the DMs, I'm in it. You guys know, you get responses sometimes, like I'm in it. Gary, you don't get it, my CFO sucks. I'm like, no, you don't get it, fire him. You hired him. Every single thing in your business that is broken is 100% your fault. You don't like the taxes in California? Move to Texas. we found the Texas dude. Like people are just so interesting. We're in a really challenging spot. You know who I blame? 8th place trophies. Can somebody ask AI who the fuck invented that? Because I want to kick them in the dick. 8th place trophies fucked everything up. We taught kids that losing was bad. We need to teach kids that losing is good. This is the mistake. Because what happens is, listen, I have 2,000 employees now at VaynerX globally, and a lot of them are under 28. About 7 years ago, before this even became obvious and kind of talked about, even before the whole and by the way, enough of bashing Gen Z. The people that bash Gen Z made them. Bash yourself. Like, you're mad at your, I get all these conversations like, Gary, my son, he's a real mess. I'm like, how old, 25? I'm like, we start talking, because this is interesting to me and I care and I want to help. And then you find out that their parents paying for their 25-year-old's life. I'm like, and they're complaining that their kid's not, like it's impossible to be hungry when you're fed. You know? And listen, everyone's got different circumstances. I'm talking general, and everybody's got their own shit, I get that. But the 8th place trophy thing killed us. We made people scared. I don't know if you're paying attention. That's all that's going on here. In business and life, it's just one game of fear versus love. How many people here are happy? Make noise. I definitely do not believe that, by the way. That was some loud ass shit. Like, not everyone's fucking happy, but I'll take it. So given that everyone here is happy, I don't know why the fuck you're here then. But, thank you, I love you back for that. But listen, if you're happy, one thing if you're following of what I'm doing, and I think this is an issue, and I'd like to actually challenge it, especially because I feel the vibes and I'm happy so many people are happy. If you're happy, you have a responsibility. What's happening is negativity is so loud and so on the offense, and happiness is content. Happiness is chilling with their 8 friends and staying away from it. The reason I'm so in and willing to deal with the ridicule and the judgment and all the shit that comes along with being out there like that is because I feel like I have a sense of responsibility. My mom really built me like that. And I feel guilt even sometimes, let alone gratitude. And that's why I take on the responsibility to put out the shit I do. If there's that many people in this room that are so happy, please change up your content a little bit and add a post about happiness, how to find it, how you found it, how you see other things. Start posting more happy shit. You into that? Seriously. Because since this whole room's happy, we're getting drained the fuck out. We're drowned out. And so we really, like, if it's so good to contribute to society, and there's so many ways. People have different resources. Some people use money and they do that, and that's amazing. Some people do it through service. But like, if you're happy, start showing more people that you can be successful and happy. There's so much shit that fucks me up. Like, nice guys finish last. Do you know how fucked up that is? That's another person we need to find. Who invented that shit? We taught an entire generation, multiple generations, that you can't be successful and nice. Do you know how crazy that is? That's insane. I'm not worried about other people. I'm not talking about other people. I understand what people are doing. I focus on you. Fuck what everyone else is doing. I know what everyone's doing. I'm asking y'all, what are you doing? What do you want to do? To me, it's if you want to grow, there is an incredible, obvious historical framework to this. The only way you can grow is you have to have energy. If, for example, if you spend 1 minute of energy on envy and jealousy of someone who's winning in your space, you're losing. When I see other people in my space win, I'm happy for them. The world is abundant. They're not, my friends, nobody's taking yours. No one's, yeah, you might lose a deal to someone, somebody else might sell a shirt to someone, you sell shirts. Listen to me, no one is taking yours. You're taking yours. I will, because there's plenty in the back. You're taking yours. This goes back to accountability. You want to grow? It's just energy. Go into your cocoon, make it fucking flowery and sunshiny and happy. Start limiting your negativity. Listen, I have a family. Listen, my family's from the USSR. The majority of my family is fairly negative. And that's because that was the world we lived in. We lived in a 70-year jail. It was a bad place. People, no, of course Russians drink vodka to the face. It was fucking horrible. Most of my family died before I met them. I have a very small family. It was fucked up. I started looking at family photos when I was a kid. At like 13, I finally realized, like, we didn't have that many pictures, but we look, family gatherings. I was like, wait a minute. There's not one fucking person smiling in any of these fucking pictures. It was that fucked up. I got real lucky because out of that whole crew, the most important one was the reverse, my mom. Pure positivity. But not the 8th place trophy shit. When I got out of line, she punched me in the face. Maybe not in everything, but all of us have a vulnerability too. I had a real revelation about 5-7 years ago. Everything that's been bad in my life, personal and professional, was because I didn't have candor. I wasn't able. Garyvee on stage, what I just did, that's fucking candor. I can talk candor when I'm talking wide. I can talk about parenting when I'm wide. I would never talk to any of you one-on-one about parenting. That's you and your family. You know your dynamics. I'm talking generalities up here. And the more I liked you, the more it was unlikely for me to give you candor. I didn't care about the money enough. So it wasn't about like me paying someone who sucked shit, right? And it fucked me up. It was a huge gash. It was in a world where I think I got very fortunate with DNA and circumstance. It was my kryptonite. And I work on it. And I'm a 4 right now. And it's made a huge impact on my business the last 3 years in my personal life. And I'm a 4. And most things I'm at 8, 9, or 10 for real if I'm scoring my own homework, And I'm a 4. But going from 1 to 4 has changed my life. And for a lot of you, it is patience. But that patience is grounded in insecurity. You need to figure out who you're trying to impress. Who? You understand? Once you understand who you're trying to impress, your life will change. And the problem is for half of us, we're trying to impress someone who isn't emotionally strong enough to give us the flowers we're looking for. You know? And a lot of us have been conditioned. I've been conditioned as the oldest son of an immigrant family whose dad worked every minute that I gotta take care of everything. But that leads to resentment. Everything's always on my back. So I've had to work on that. Nobody's got it great, or everyone has it great. 730 million people on Earth do not have access to clean water. I'm on the board of Charity Water. We build wells in Africa, in parts of India. It's insane to me. 730 million people, almost 10% of the humans on this earth, cannot get to a glass of clean water in 24 hours. And it's 2023. And you're complaining that your Wi-Fi's a little slow today? You know, like, what are we doing? The thing that I've been obsessed with since I was selling lemonade at 7 years old, and on a stage like this maybe 10 years ago, I realized, man, I don't even really remember pouring the lemonade, and I had an epiphany that when I had lemonade stands, my friends would hold down the lemonade stand and I would walk around the streets of New Jersey and try to figure out where to put my signs. I've been chasing attention my whole life. And so baseball cards went well for me because I gave thought to how my table looked at the show. My dad's liquor store was real easy for me. I would watch people walk in the store and I would pay attention to how they would move, and I changed the way our setup was, and I made sure the stuff we wanted to sell was in front of them instead of somewhere they couldn't find. As you can imagine, when I launched WineLibrary.com, a website, it's crazy. The fact that I launched WineLibrary.com in 1990, how many people here were not born in 1997? Make some noise. Getting fucking old. Getting old up here. The fact that I launched a website in 1997, actually I'm writing a new book called Day Trading Attention that will come out next year. And on the flight here for 5 hours, we were editing it, and there was something about YouTube, we were talking about YouTube in it, and I made a reference in there of when I started, and in the reference it said that I started Wine Library TV 5 months after YouTube came out, and I thought that was too soon, so we looked it up, and it was actually wrong, but the other direction. YouTube came out, I think, December 15, 2005. I launched Wine Library TV February 21st, 2006. And it's probably the thing that, what I'm setting up here for you is, it's kind of scary how big the opportunity is for everybody in this room, regardless of where you're at, if you actually make a commitment to what I now recognize is the commitment that I've made my whole life and very aggressively for the last 20 years, which is if you actually understand where people's attention is, and then you actually figure out how to storytell on those platforms, whether in the written word, in video or in audio, and most of all, which I think fucks up most people, you stay patient and try to actually bring value, not extract value. When it takes me 2 seconds. When I go to the airport, somebody rolls up, they're like, Garyvee, I'm not fucking growing. Like, it takes me 1/100th of a second to know why. Because they're only about themselves. They care about how many followers they get. They care about how many likes they get. They care about how many fucking things they sell. There's just like literally no relationship with the audience. I know why I get to stand up here. I know why I get this love for you. It matters to me to provide value. I'm not scared to be a businessman. I got sneakers to sell and books to sell and wine to sell and V-Friends to sell. Like, I'm not scared, but I don't understand how people don't understand what's happening. The whole world's competing now. Every single person's competing with every single person, every business. And how are you gonna break through? You're not gonna break through by showing the same shit. 1 billion people are posting a fucking flexi watch. That shit's not gonna break through. I think that most of us in general need to understand the science behind the game. And the game is attention on this device. There's 8 or 9 platforms that dominate this thing. Do I believe that most people here don't understand the science of social media? The answer is yes. Do I believe when I look at all of the accounts I looked at over the last couple of days, hyped for this event or here or what have you, that when I look at your profile, I'm like, oh, they don't understand that the thumbnail has no shot. Or, oh fuck, they're one of those people that think on Instagram, it's all about the picture or the video, and they put no effort into the copy, which is why it's not happening for them. Do I look at TikTok and be like, oh, they just posted their Instagram reel on TikTok or vice versa, that's why they don't get it? Do I think that there's extraordinary science behind the art? I do. The thumbnail matters. The first 3 seconds matter. The style matters. If you're still doing what you did for, like, how many people here are stagnant in their growth on Instagram? And don't be full of shit, raise your hand because I want everybody to see this. Actually stand up, please, on some real shit. Are you stagnant on your growth on Instagram? Put on the lights. No, this is good. By the way, I'm standing. So, thank you everybody. I wanted everybody to visualize it. Actually, if you can keep those lights on, that'd be epic, because the dark freaks me out. It doesn't. I just like seeing the faces for reaction. Listen to me. The reason everybody stood up is all that social media is supply and demand. My favorite thing is like, Gary, you need to help me. I've been shadow banned. No, you haven't, Don. You just suck. Nobody here is shadow banned. You're not shadow banned. You just haven't changed up your game in the last 3 years. And there's more people posting on the platform than ever. And some of the attention is now fully just on TikTok. It's called fucking supply and demand. You remember when I was yelling and going crazy 5 years ago telling you to get on TikTok? And you were like, nah, fuck that shit, that's girls that dance that are 14? You fucked up. This game is simple, but hard. Just like getting into better shape. There are core platforms that have the world's attention. Almost everybody here does not post 3 times a day on LinkedIn. Everybody here should post 3 times a day on LinkedIn. I don't care if you sell t-shirts, I don't care if you sell peach ice cream. LinkedIn is not what it was when we all came out the gate. It's no longer a recruiting tool. It is a social network that has crazy organic reach, that has very high value customers that are usually at work when they're in it, so they're paying attention even more because they don't want to work. And so, you know, I can go around the world and speak and I can put out the content. But when I was thinking about this, I'm like, look, I can go into the tactics. You know, I can tell you right now that on Instagram, if you post an image first and a second carousel video instead of just a Reels video like we've all been doing, it will do better. There you go, go, good, go. Write that shit down on your fucking pad. But what I know is that when you do it 7 times or 12 times and it doesn't go, because the quality of the content wasn't good enough, that you stop. And so I guess for me at this point, I'm just trying to figure out, what are people worried about? What's stopping people? And it's all the same cliche shit. Some people don't like the way they look on camera, but you don't like the way you look on camera because for some reason you've decided to value a stranger's bullshit comment on you coming from their own hurt instead of the way you feel about your own self. Like the thought of how many people here don't want someone from their high school or college or a neighbor or a coworker, or even worse, the thing that kills me, that you literally are not building your future because you're worried about Johnny Pants 67 coming on your account and fucking shitting on you. Do you understand how sad of a life it is to spend your time at night laying in your bed, going around your feed, seeing someone's bright light, and you're in such a bad place that you want to say you suck or you're wrong or fuck you? You shouldn't be feeling bad for yourself. You need to feel bad for these people. We need more empathy. Like, this is someone who's hurt. The thought of spending a second of my time to hurt someone else's feelings is fucking insane to me. So I'm just gonna, I'm trying to systematically think about like, why won't you post 33, like if you're here and you want something to happen, the fastest and most significant way to grow a business in 2023 and 24, besides the operational part, besides the fact that it has to be able to operate, to grow a business, it's called social media.